the different concepts related to what goes into a financial plan in detail on that session. Okay. And we had 2 weeks after that, we had August 29th. In this session, we talked again in detail about what goes into the financial planning, what is protecting families means, and as part of protection, we also covered estate planning, will, and trust. Okay, so what does this mean for every, kind of like we took like different families and what are the situations that might actually be necessary for them. And of course, protection families, protecting your families, everybody needs to do that. So those are the topics, very important. Estate planning, will, and trust, what is more applicable to every family. And these are the topics that are very much, kind of like in line with when we give out this informational topics to the community, we want community to get benefited out of these topics, like learn a little bit, ask some questions. We can make it as a interactive session too. Okay. Any questions, you can feel free to interrupt me and we can talk. Okay. So then, so we talked about, and I hope you're able to see this, estate planning. Then we also had, a little bit of protecting the families is nothing but an insurance plan. Every family member is good to have those. All right. And last 2 weeks ago, last session was talking about college planning. And this was specifically for high schoolers and also families or parents who have college going kids like high school or above, right? So those are and how do they, kind of like take help from the financial aid perspective. So we talked a little bit, and investment planning too. I touched on this topic for the half an hour, and these are the topics. Okay, and today we are here. So the main topics that we are going to touch today, retirement planning and long-term care, all are, both of these are very important topics, and I do get a lot of questions from the community. And I support a lot of nonprofits and also community activities. I'm a big believer in giving back to the communities, talk to them indeed, like kind of like just informational sessions, like, what's going on. And long-term care has been a topic that has been of much curiosity to the communities. They were asking me a lot of questions of, who would be, eligible for, or what is the right age group, or, what exactly is LTC, like those are the questions. So before I go into the long-term care, so your retirement planning, definitely, we are talking about individuals or person who's actually 40 plus, and we are the different things come into priority at that point. So you definitely want to think about what is your current, like the healthcare plans that you're having currently. You need to do a little bit of thinking in terms of your estate, your legacy, what you want to do. These are the subtopics we have discussed earlier. Long-term care is what we are going to talk. What is your income right now? How is the income planning has to be done? So we want to, align your, whatever is your age group, and successfully, we want that transition to your retirement nicely done, like, and whatever the extra money that you have, that's the investments that you can plan for, is all helpful. And this is an information that's actually the US government, or we call that as the national thing, like, everybody has to get right information available to them so that they can actually decide what's the right things to do for their age groups. And, like how we do for college planning for a financial aid for a high schooler, understanding that there is a FAFSA form, you can submit those, all that stuff. Same thing with a person who is actually planning for a retirement should also have the enough resources, like which is called, we call that as a bucket of information that they can, they're aware of, and then finally they can decide how they want to plan their retirement. Okay, so now I'm going to talk a little bit into, so the next slide. So I'm going to retouch on some of the topics which are very important in terms of how the financial planning for any family is done. Okay. And as part of the financial planning, the investment planning or retirement planning or even the LTC, everything comes into this bucket. So I'm going to talk about this just for maybe 30-40 seconds, and then we are going to go back to our main topic. So we all work very, very hard. We make money, but whatever money that we earn has to be saved, and make sure there are no leaks in our buckets there. Make sure that whatever we can save as much as we can, that has to be taken care. Protect your money, and make sure you're growing that money. Growing money is nothing but putting that into an right investment and growing it, like from whatever 100K you have, maybe you are making a lot of money every year, but again, what you can save per year, save at the end of the year is what you save, right? Make sure you're protecting the families, like, the person who is earning, every person in the family. We want, where is the source of income for your family? So understand that and then protect that sources. Growing money is nothing but your you want to grow. Whatever 100K you have should remain as 100K or should become 100 plus. We do not want your 100K to become depreciated, meaning in the sense like should go down by, it should not become like 80K or 75K or whatever. And that is right now the situation of some of the 401Ks and other topics. So even for 401Ks, you could actually think of rolling over to some kind of a annuity plan, and that will help you. Okay, so this is what we call as an financial foundation. Many of you guys already know we cannot build a house without having a proper foundation. The structure you can build any number of wonderful structure can be built on the top. Unless you have a strong foundation, it's not going to be much helpful. So same thing applies for a financial foundation too. You need to build it right from the bottom. So the protecting the sources of income, everybody in the family needs to be protected. That's what we call as an insurance. Take care of that first. The wider the production bucket, it is actually better for you. And how much is right for you, we have covered in detail in the earlier sessions. Like, we take 10 and 20. So those are the calculations. And on top of that, we want to build it strong by making sure whatever the mortgages, whatever the if you have some debts, right? So like something like when you went to colleges, when you went to school, you have paid for some fees. There are a lot of information that you can actually use this information for protecting. So that is one. And then you also have the emergency fund. Make sure your emergency fund is all taken care. So coming to the investment. So investments, not all investments are, some investments are really helpful in terms of like, if you have invested in a mortgage, so that's going to help you build up something over the years. So that could be your asset. So things like that will all be different. If you have some extra money, so plan for that. Emergency fund, do you want to plan for 6 months or 1 year, is all how much you are actually already getting into your bucket, how much you are saving. Take care of all the loans that you have done, and make sure everybody in the family is protected. It is a simple logic, but again, I do see that a lot of people like directly go and develop their investments, which is like they buy a home, they're living in a home, and they want to do one more investment, not talking anything about protection. Not having any protection layer is not good. So which is like you're reversing the foundation, right? So which is you have something here, like, built a lot of structure on the top without having a proper foundation at the bottom. So that's not a good combination. Okay, so now I'm going to talk a little bit about, these are financial consultants or financial advisors. We talk about two important scenarios. Okay, what if a person passes and they die too soon? Or the second scenario is, what if a person lives too long? So die too soon is the condition where we would want you to actually get protected, take care of that in terms of your insurance. And in the case of a living too long, you need to do a lot of other planning to be done. So the X curve is talking a little bit about when we are young, we have a lot of these responsibilities. You have big responsibility. You are a young family. You need to take care of everybody in the family. You have a lot of loans. You need to take care of your health, education, everybody, right? So all that. You have an active income. But as you grow old, right? So, and also we would not have a lot of savings when we are young, but the situation will quickly change as you grow, as it in terms of your life, when you're actually moving into an when you are growing older. Even if you have a passive income, maybe you are in a better savings, you have done some, accumulated some wealth, you have accumulated some savings. Of course, food, shelter, clothing is the same, whether you're young or old, you need to take care of that. Health becomes a prominent thing. As you know, as we become older, health care or health related stuff is very important. So maybe you have cleared out your mortgage, maybe you have maybe some loan, those things are already there, but you do have, maybe you do not want to spend like a very active, income style, like, you could come into a part-time or passive income. Okay. So that's what we look at. Your responsibilities are less as you grow older. Like maybe you took care of all the your kids stuff and everything that's in your plate. Like you have taken care of that. You're less responsible now. Maybe you have some savings, but health is a major concern. Kind of like a health is very important at that point in the when you become older. So these are the concepts we do. That's called a X curve concept. So when we are talking about a person's life, these are the two things that financial planners, financial consultants, we always advise. In any family situation, considering what if the person dies too soon, what if the person lives too long. Too long is, we're talking about if what if a person lives like 75 or 85 or beyond that. And what if the person baby dying too soon is like we are for unfortunate reasons, if they die too soon. So what will happen to that family situation? What are the financial responsibilities? Finance is very important, and of course, other than the emotional things that are have to be handled in that family, we also want to make sure that the financial obligations, like anything that have to be taken care, has to be given a big importance. Okay. And so when we're talking about the retirement planning, so 40 plus, then we are talking about the long-term care. So long-term care is part of the retirement planning, like people for 40 plus. So there are a lot of, the community is actually very interested in this topic, is the way, who exactly needs LTC? Okay, is it for a young couple like 42? Can I apply even for a long-term care, or is it only when I'm 65 plus? Is that when I need to do an LTC? Or what are the conditions? I already have a medical health care. Why do I need to even consider anything like a long-term care? There's a lot of things, okay? Questions related to this topic. So definitely this is a topic that's going to help the community. So I'm spending some time so that we could, you guys can get a little bit of more information on this. All right. So we'll talk about, there is a lot of information which is already there in the longtermcare.gov. You can also refer to it. So there are a lot of questions like, what is a long-term care, right? If you just, anybody who's like a 40 plus, who is, want to take a semi-retirement, full retirement or whatever, and, we are considering that as a retirement planning. Part of that, LTC is one of those. It is definitely more than insurance. And what is long-term care? Okay, who exactly needs it? How much care do I need, or will you need? Like sometimes we do not ourselves know those things. Who is going to provide that kind of a care, and where exactly? In certain situations, every family situation is different. where can I receive that kind of a care? Okay, even if I want to pay some money, what's, and who would actually pay for my the long-term care? How exactly that works? Okay, so these are we are coming into a topic where it is very complex and at the same time easy enough if you understand some of the basics. So and again, it varies from person to person, family to family, and their situation. And so so somebody who is like 65 and has already 65 plus are definitely 70% of people who are 65 plus are needing some type of LTC services, which is called long-term care services. And we're talking about 65 plus, like, they need to start thinking, what if I need to, need some kind of service, LTC. And women need care longer than men. Okay, so generally that's actually the criteria too. I have one slide which is going to talk about the how long the women versus the male versus the female in US population, like, in general statistics, how long their average age like they are going to survive. So 1/3 of the today's 65-year-olds may never need also sometimes of LTC. Some people are healthy, they kind of take care of that. But again, 20% of them are, they might need more than 5 years. So it is like, we do not know where exactly that situation is, right? So based on the situation, you need to understand, do I fall into that 65-year-olds who would never need an LTC? Or am I in that 20%, like, who would be requiring, and I might actually need longer than 5 years of LTC support. Okay, so this is like LTC services. So there are like some more slides which are in detail talking about this, but today I'm going to talk in detail, like, touch all these topics just in a minute. Okay, at this point, are there any questions before I continue? Okay, all right, so let's dive in. So let's understand what is long-term care, first of all. Okay, so long-term care, it refers to the assistance for people generally with chronic illnesses or mental or physical disabilities, or both in terms of nursing home and at home. And do not think this is only for the elders or seniors. It's even for we have seen situations like, even a 42-year-old might have been unfortunately have come up with, like, been needed some kind of an assistance in their early 40s, being in chronic illnesses or mental or physical disabilities. It could be unfortunate situations either ways, like it's something in the nursing home or at home, right? So the primary help is actually intended to help with their activities. It is rather than treating them for the medical conditions, it's more for the activities of their daily living. And so we'll talk about what are the six, we call them as the six active daily living activities. ADL is a very common terminology in LTC or in the retirement planning. So what is an ADL? ADL is an activities which are related to your daily living. What are those? These are, if you need help with, like, somebody for the eating, right? You can't feed yourself for any reason. If you need bathing support, like, you cannot take care of a bath yourself, or you need, even for dressing or moving you from a chair to a bed or whatever is the transferring position, toileting, right? So which means, like, even for the bathroom and all the stuff, you need some kind of an help for both for men and women. So we're talking about that. So if you are unable to walk or even move around and you need some kind of an help related to, these are called as, if you are unable to perform at least two of these six activities, then you are, eligible for the long-term care. So kind of like your benefits are, you can, you are definitely looking at LTC. So active, these are the activities of daily living. Okay, so any questions so far? Okay, All right. So now, when we understood a little bit about what is the long-term care, I'm going to talk about what's the life expectation. In terms of, we are talking about how long they're gonna American male or female, like U.S. Somebody who's living here. So the gender specific, like this was a stat back from 2017. It might be slightly up given the conditions, like the healthcare conditions. We are looking for more lifespan expectancy. Males, it's right now 76 years average life expectation, expectancy of a US male, and at the same time 81 years. Like, females, they live longer than the males, like average life expectancy is at least 2 to 3 years, at least 3 to 4 years. Okay. So this is 2017, and this number has definitely, is on the other side, like meaning right now I think it is 83 or 84 for US women, and at the same time for men it is like 79, 70, 80 years or something like that. So what is it telling? What is this information telling us? So which means, what if we live longer is a condition, right? So if we need some kind of an assistance at that point, like, when you grow beyond 65, you definitely, or 60% of the people, like, definitely need some kind of an LTC services. Okay. So there has been a poll that has been done, and if you also need some information on this, there is long-term care in California. So there is some references that I do have here. So they have taken a poll, and at the same time, this information is giving us a little bit of stats of what Californians are, in terms of LTC specifically, the topics are. So nearly 2/3 of the Californian age are saying that they will be needing ongoing some living assistance, like, for those activities which are related to the daily activities. But at the same time, they might have not even planned anything, right, for those kind of activities, or they have done very little planning. So we're talking about 40 or older Californians. So same thing with the, we just for the comparison reasons, similar to the rest of the country too, like there is, have planned something, but, it depends on the demographic group to which they belong and the behavior pattern. So Americans definitely, they plan a lot in terms of this kind of LTC. So some of the demographic groups are yet to actually make like a lot of understand how this whole thing works, and so we haven't made a lot of progress, but I think it's very important topic. Okay, so Californians in again conference in one's ability to pay for long-term care. So it is expensive. Long-term care is not like, like kind of very, like, can be done within a couple of hundreds, but again, it is expensive. It comes for very some specific reasons, right? That needs to be understood. And at the same time, the ability to pay for a long-term care, which are again women and men, what is that stat? So that is another important detail. So a lot of us must acknowledge that the stress of providing care to a family. So generally, when a family member needs, it would be generally their family or their close friends who take care of them. If they need a support, who would we fall into? Just generally, that's the family, immediate family members, or it could be extended family, or it could be some close friends. But again, it is creating a little bit of a stress onto their the regular, they have their career choices, they are like running around, they might be working, they might be they might be doing their schooling, like, there are based on the family situation, these are a lot of different experiences. Okay, it remains positive. Like, I think the best opportunity is actually have a family member take care of when we are unable to do our own daily activities. Okay, there are a lot of social economic factors that are dependent on that. So now I'll go into there is a stat here which is saying that 6 in 10 Californians, they expected that a loved one will, one of their family members need to take care in the next 5 years or so. But again, there are other high income households. If you are in the higher income household, you can plan better. Okay, for some kind of a care, we can definitely afford that kind of a care, which is long-term care, in a much more way, good way. But again, some of us, if we are not able to, even afford that kind of a package or kind of like that money, so what are our opportunities, right? So then I'm going to go into those details as well now. Okay, so but this is actually what is the long-term care poll. If you want more information, I will leave that link as well in the chat for you at the after this session. So it is called the longtermcarepoll.org, and especially in California, what are the stats? Okay, and there is some demographics that are changing. There is also some of the other activities, as I said, they are based on some socio-economic factors are dependent on that. Okay, so who exactly needs care? And so we talked about a little bit. I think by now you might have understood a little bit about who needs care, but I'll reiterate that. Okay, so will someone take care of you when you're old? Okay, and who is that person? Have we actually identified, have we discussed about those kind of stuff, which is important, right? So, and again, and we talked a little bit about the 6 daily activities, so just wanted to bring it up. So if you are unable to eat by yourself or take care of bathing or dressing, or not able to move from one place to another, if you can't drive yourself, you can't go to the bathroom, or even even for some of the activities like going to the any of the what you call the hospital, or any visits that you want to plan, if you can't take care of that, will somebody take care of you when you're old? How did you plan? So generally it would be the spouse, it would be the children, or it could be immediately their extended family, some cousins, or your close friends. Those people are we fall upon, like kind of take care of that. And some of the upper income household, definitely we can plan for how we can in those situations, we could plan a little bit of how that long-term care planning is can be done. Okay, you can start this kind of a planning as early as 40 years old. When you turn 40, you can actually think of not just being in those there are a lot of combinations in terms of even early 40s. Some people wanted to retire, and unfortunately they are in a situation they need some help in the activities. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and talk about who pays for this kind of long-term care. Okay, so Medicare is covering for 10% some of these activities, and Medicaid, so 34% some out of the pocket. So you can look at the stat. Generally, it's actually 52% comes out of the pocket from average family. It's a huge expense in terms of, if you fall into that LTC category, and this is from Department of Health and Human Services that this information is provided. And everybody's situation is different. As I said, in the families, we need to have what exactly is my Medicare covering, right? What is my Medicaid? What services are being currently covered? Okay, and also like some of the services what you are already getting from, you need to understand how long I'm gonna get these benefits. Okay, and when you apply for an LT, again, whether or not I'm gonna be qualified for those benefits, like we're talking about LTs, and how much you have to pay from your out of pocket. If they are not covering those, or if they are not taking care of it, it would be primarily coming out of your pocket, out of pocket. So if you look at any of those assistants, right, so you kind of like come up with that number and then say, I'm going to be around 52% of that expenses is paid out of my pocket. And so you have to anticipate that that is coming down the road, and you put some money right from, when you're young, and then start putting that into your LTC plan. So that's the idea of LTC planning. Okay, oops, that's an empty slide. Okay, so here, so when again we are going to look at some of the America, we are thinking that we are all prepared for aging population. But again, 2/3 of the Americans age 40 and older, they feel the country, we are not at all prepared for the older adult population that is coming up, how much of facilities and the care that we need for those, right, is not prepared. So 2 in 3 people, they are definitely think we are not prepared for this kind of a population that's coming up. So, and again, majority of the Americans, we believe that it's like coming, it should be, make sure there is a effort into helping people with those costs of an ongoing living assistance. That cost should actually be helped out. That is like 86% of the people, like, you know, have that kind of. And again, this information is all coming from the polls, which is important. You guys understand why we are coming into this stats. Okay, so this is one of the stat, as you can see, the cost of care. So if the long-term care costs are, you know, state by state, they are different, but we'll talk a little bit and just look for some kind of an care, right? So you can look for, I think this number is from 2018. So let's say if you need a private 1-bedroom assisted living, so that would cost you anywhere from 4,000 to 4,200 per month. So like, you know, where would this money come from? Or it would be, excuse me. So if you need somebody like, you know, home health aid, like around, they're spending like 40 hours per week. So that would be anywhere between that number. So also semi private room, the nursing home, or if you need a private room, how much does that cost? It could be 3 months, maybe you need that kind of an LTC, or it could be, you know, you need 6 months, you need a year, you know, based on that situation, right? So they're all coming from the out of pocket if you are not planning for this. So it can be more planned from an perspective too. So here, let's take a look. So I'm gonna take this, 1 second. I'm gonna drag this to show you. I have some more stats here. Okay, maybe I can show you here. Sorry about that. Okay, so here you can look at, okay. So let's look at some of these are the national monthly median costs for different types of LTC. So if somebody is actually coming to your home and then taking care of those services, it's like around 4,290. Somebody who's actually health aid, like, you know, we call that somebody who's just taking care of your ADL, somebody is like, you know, home health aid as well. 4,385, adult daycare, this is how much it is, assisted living facilities, nursing home, semi-private room, and nursing home. Again, I showed you the other stats as well, which is pretty close, $4,000, 7,000 or 8,500, something like that, private room, nursing home if you need, okay? So, and these, one more important thing is long-term care costs are rising. They rose between 1.71 to 3.64 a year on average between 2004 and 2019. So which we can expect that these numbers will go up, okay? Definitely they're not gonna come down. So which means all these expenses, what we just talked about, how much is this kind of a private rooms and all that stuff, that information, that's definitely going up, okay? All right. So now, now we understand what is long-term care. We understand what are the activities of the daily activities that need help with. In an unfortunate, some of us, like, you know, if you have some of those chronic illnesses, and, you know, those are the support areas, right? So coming there. Okay, so there is again a lot of information which is there in the longtermcare.gov, so which is specifically talking about I'm gonna just summarize some of the information that's given there. So how much does the long-term care insurance cost, okay? So you need to understand that long-term care insurance is a large expense that it is not necessary for every household. So we have to understand it's not like every household needs to plan for this. Doesn't necessarily make sense for every household. But again, you know, if that situation you're thinking that apply would probably based on the health condition that you have and all that stuff. If you think that is going to be something that you might need it, you can better plan it. Okay, so many families can afford a short nursing home stay if it needs needed. But again, some of us, if you have to pay that over a period of years, some of us, we might not even have so much of savings. Okay, you're running you're running your current expenses, you're running, taking care of so many things right now. For you, if you, maybe you might want to consider a one-time premium at the end. Maybe when I'm 50, I'm gonna plan for a big amount and do it right away, like just one big premium, instead of paying every year, like a small amount. Okay, or some of us, based on the situation, some of us are preferring to pay out of the pocket, not even planning for an LTC. So if you are in those kind of situations, so then it's different. 1/3 of the seniors may never need any long-term care. As I said, if you're lucky enough and you're kind of like 1/3 of the population will not even require long-term care, that is a good side. But we see that 20%, like you're calling it as a 20% might require for longer than 5 years. Okay, so based on the situation, we need to act and kind of like think that the LTC insurance, and so that might be a situation that you will be definitely be planning better for. Okay, so I'm going to switch gears here and talk a little bit about annuity. As some of you know, this is also, annuities are also part of the retirement planning. And the reason I kind of included this along with the LTC topic is some of these annuities can actually have LTC, you can actually have a LTC claims that can be used for the tax-free purposes. So this is a related topic, so I thought maybe you can get some benefit out of this topic. So annuities are nothing but whatever you have some, it is more like an investment, but at the same time, there are options, like, you could do it again as part of your retirement planning, and depends on what is your age group and all that stuff. You could also pay some single premium, or you could actually plan it over a couple of premiums, and then you can actually come back and say, I want a variable or a fixed or whatever, but growing from whatever you have to a bigger number, right? So there is a what you call, it's a low risk, no what you call, the investment benefits are better. Okay, and so annuities is a very good topic. We have discussed this in detail last session. So, and again, I'm not going to go into all the details in this, but again, now we want to connect that annuity investment topic into how LTC. So let's say you have invested in annuity and there is a taxable gain there. And you also got the benefit, like, you have 100,000 annuity that you have invested. So this, whatever the tax gain that you got on top of the annuity, like, based on whatever the, you might have got a 50,000, like when you have invested, it's only 100,000. Over a period of time, it grew and you have made some profit. So that benefits, like, you can take that and you can use it for your LTC. Okay, so based on that 100,000, if you make some profit on that, like, all that goes back. So there is a 300,000 tax-free LTC benefits. So you can take those benefits if you already are thinking about, you have some amount that you can spare and keep it in an investment model. You can use it for 10 years or 20 years into annuities and then convert that into an LTC, tax-free LTC benefits that you can always take care of. So US government has given us like a lot of these, how does long-term care works, like, all these are very wonderful topics. You can think about how it will help your situation. Definitely you can talk to financial consultants. We can provide the advice and what is needed in terms of these kind of questions. Okay, All right. So as I said, these are the investment. We were talking about the annuities. This is the slide that is connecting with that. It's a guaranteed, steady, low risk stream of income, no matter how the conditions, but you definitely will grow the money. So that is, these are the annuities, and the annuities are like, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, you put it into annuity, move that money back into your LTC. Okay. So, and again, there are a couple of options. Again, there are fixed, and then there is an indexed and variable too. Based on every family situation, you can actually choose what works. Like you could pay a fixed amount right at the front, or you could say, I want to go, like kind of a variable, giving me some options. Like, I have some variable options, or you could actually have some indexed information. Okay. All right, so these are some of the annuity benefits, and these benefits, if you can convert it back into your LTC, that's really helpful. Okay, so that's, I believe, is the last slide, and thank you for listening to me. And if you have any questions, let me know. I can answer it right now, or I'll be leaving my contact number and email ID. If you have any questions, I'm a licensed financial consultant. I work independently with, not one company. So we look at a lot of different, the better options, actually, I would say. I'm also a certified college planning consultant, and any questions related to these topics, definitely more than happy to, help you guys. Yeah. Okay. Any questions? Okay, let's do a time check. I think it's 8:20. Okay, Soumya, maybe you can stop the recording, but I can take some questions. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.